Welcome back. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet again. Thank you. There's nobody there. There's nobody there clapping. Nobody. Now, thumb sucking is a problem for most kids, and I was no different. I had sucked my thumb since I was born, and even at the ripe old age of 5, I wasn't planning on stopping anytime soon. It was my first ever addiction, and it got so bad that my thumb never left my mouth. And if someone tried to remove said thumb, I would bite them like a rabid dog with an agenda. On more than a few occasions, my parents would have to sit me down and we'd have to chat about me biting people. My mom would say, "Joey, you can't just bite people, honey. You just can't." And my dad would say, "She said." I would retort, "Well, then start telling people to stay away from my stash. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to bite a bitch." I was a pretty cool 5-year-old. It really got so bad that if there had been a Thumbsuckers Anonymous, TA, I would have had to attend, probably by court order. It's actually kind of funny to think about me at all of 5 years old at a Thumbsuckers Anonymous meeting, right up there with my thumb in my mouth. "Hi, my name is Joey, I'm a thumbsucker." "Hey, Joey!" "Hi." It wasn't just something to do, it was a way for me to cope with life. I've always needed a distraction to help the shitty times not be so shitty. And nothing was as bad as when at 5, my Papaw had a massive heart attack and almost died. I was 5. He wasn't. I didn't have a 5-year-old grandfather. We were not from that part of the South. He was very close to death. The doctors had told all of us to say our goodbyes because he would not make it through the night. I remember it was very quiet in his room, except for the noise of machines beeping that were keeping him alive, and the faint sounds of family members whispering and trying not to cry. I just kind of sat in the corner and kept to myself. I was too young to really comprehend the situation, but I knew it was bad. So I just sat there quietly, staring at my thumb, and it was staring right back at me. And we wanted each other. It was too stressful of a situation. And damn it, I needed my fix. And all of a sudden, in this very quiet hospital room full of grieving family members and where my Papaw was fighting for his life, you started to hear this. Suddenly, my whole family turned their heads simultaneously and just started staring at me. That wasn't gonna make me stop though. All it did was make me more nervous and stressed, so I sucked my thumb faster and louder. And then the nurse that had come in the room to check on my Papaw, she came over to me and very nicely said, "Sweetie, maybe you shouldn't be doing that right now." And she reached for my thumb. 5 stitches. Thank God she was already in a hospital. My Papaw was a tough bastard though, and he didn't die that day. He flew up to the gates of heaven, looked God right in the eye, and said, "Alright, if you're not ready to die yet, just flip off God." Now, even though he had the cojones to flip off the supreme deity, he still couldn't give up his favorite pastime: smoking. It was obvious to everyone that his 30+ years of smoking had finally caused his heart to go, "Fuck it, I'm out." He didn't care though, and he kept on trying to master his impersonation of an overworked chimney, much to the family's dismay. My mom would get so angry with him. "Dad, you need to quit. Why can't you just stop?" And as quick as any great stand-up comedian, he replied with this: "Well, you try to give up smoking when you're married to your mother." I, of course, being all of 5 years old, didn't understand this. And he must have seen my confusion because he turned right to me and said, "Joey, one day you're gonna remember this. And you're gonna get it, and you're gonna laugh." And one day I did remember it, and I did laugh. Because it's fucking hilarious! And that's why I'm using it here. Anyway, a few months after his attack of the heart, we were over there for dinner. My Papaw retired up to his office to smoke, while the rest of the family spoke about his smoking and what they could do to get him to quit. My Nana was furious. I just don't know what to do. He won't listen to the doctor, and he won't listen to me. He won't listen to anybody. He's gonna have another heart attack. Maybe that'll finally get it through his thick head to stop clogging his arteries with nicotine. Idiot. My mom then replied with, I don't know, Mom. You know, it's just like with Joey. No matter what we say, he just won't stop sucking his thumb. Maybe he gets his stubbornness from Dad. They both need a good kick in the ass. Excuse me, but I'm sitting right here. Also, unless my thumb starts secreting nicotine, I think the situations are entirely different. Joey, me and your Nana, we have to have an adult talk. Why don't you go up to Papaw's office and see what he's doing? If he's smoking, you know, just come on back and tell us. That sounds like spying, Mom. Oh, don't be dramatic, Joey. Look, I'll give you $1 if you go do this for us. I believe that's bribery. Joey, do this or you're grounded. Now you're threatening me? What the hell did I do? And then my mom gave me that mom stare that makes you shit and piss your pants at the exact same time, no matter what age you are. Yeah. So after I cleaned myself up, I went to my Papaw's office to see if he was smoking. And even though I don't have Sherlock Holmes deduction skills, surprise! He was smoking. And blowing it out the window. He was like a criminal mastermind. I didn't want him to see that I had caught him, but he turned his head before I could sneak away sneakily. And I remember he just smiled that big smile of his and, you know, motioned for me to come on into his office. So, they sent you in here to spy on me, huh? How'd you know that, Papaw? I know my girls. So, are they out there complaining about my addiction? What's an addiction? Addiction, Joey. Addiction. That's what I said. Addition. They said you were addition to cigarettes. I know. Wasn't I adorable? Although it's just occurring to me that at 5 years old, I had no idea what addition meant. Perhaps that's why I'm trying to do stuff like this and get a career in Hollywood, because you don't really have to have math skills. Well, food for thought. Back to the show. I'm addicted to cigarettes, Joey. Addicted. Well, what does that mean? Well, it just means that it's hard for me to stop smoking. Like you with your thumb sucking. What? I can stop sucking my thumb whenever I want. It's not a problem or anything. Something an addict would say. Well, why don't you just stop doing it? I don't know. Well, to be honest, Joey, you're getting a little old to be sucking your thumb. Maybe. Can I ask you a question, Papa? Of course. How old do you have to be before you stop smoking? I remember this moment precisely because he took the cigarette out of his mouth and just stared at it for the longest time. And then he just put it out in his ashtray. You know something, Joey? You make a really good point. Papa, I'm gonna make you a deal. Okay? I'll quit sucking my thumb if you give up smoking. And we'll quit together. And he just smiled that big smile of his again. And he knelt down and he hugged me. And he whispered in my ear, "It's not gonna be easy, Joey." To which I replied, "I know, Papaw. I just love sucking on this bitch." What? Nothing, Papaw. That was it, though. I made a promise that day to never suck my thumb again. And I never did. You know what? My Papaw never smoked again either. And when he died in 2006, I went over to his coffin and told him that I always kept my promise, and that I loved him for keeping his. Thanks, Papaw. I'm sure most of you are just gonna chalk this up to some cute story, and it is, but it's actually the catalyst for my strange tale. For you see, when I stopped my thumb-sucking ways, a huge void entered my life. I couldn't figure out why for a long time, but I just felt a hole in the pit of my stomach that wouldn't go away no matter what I did.